I'm Mike Taylor, 20-year veteran of this motorcycle in the valley here.
I'm Matt Merdeza, co-founder and engineer for Kewlmetal.
I'm Joe Schwang, help on designer and shop help for Kewlmetal.
Brad Cook, owner of Wheels.
I wanted to start off with a few basic questions. I guess the first question I have is, how long have you guys been doing this type of fabrication and machine work?
We just had our 10th anniversary for Kewlmetal Inc.
On the Pro Street kits, we've been at it now for 7 years. We kicked it off in the Honda market, took it to the Victory market, and now we're taking it to the Harley Davidson market.
How many of these kits do you have out on the street burning gas?
About approximately through the Honda market and the Victory market, and penetration we have in the Harley market so far, about 1,000 kits.
What would you say the integrity of this kit is versus a stock manufactured motorcycle?
Well, this kit's more stout than the stock motorcycle parts. You know, it's designed to tougher standards than the stock forks and the stock frame.
I would have to agree with that based on what I've seen and what I know of the integrity of metal. From a do-it-yourselfer's point of view, do you think a guy with average mechanic skills and average tooling could do this himself at his garage?
You know, he can. I'd like to see somebody with some decent wrenching skills. I would say, you know, the average guy who's not willing to take the entire front end off his bike and put it back on and be comfortable with that's not going to be comfortable with this.
Sure.
So with some basic wrenching skills, it really is a pretty easy job. It's really, I think on the Honda VTX we were counting at something like 20 nuts and bolts
is
to
that
actually
right?
take your whole front end off and put it back on. Joe and I, without the, besides for the touring bikes and the wiring, on a clean bike without a windshield, could do these kits in 4 hours flat.
Yeah, it's basically, we set it up for the garage mechanic, someone that has confidence in themselves to do it. On a bike like this on the Road Glide, the tougher part of this job is the wiring, not the nuts and bolts of the job. It doesn't take, other than a torque wrench, it'll go to 225 foot-pounds of torque, and a fish scale. It doesn't take any other special tools in it that a guy might not have in his toolbox. So it is a pretty user-friendly kit.
Yeah, you've definitely taken all the guesswork out of it and made it somewhat foolproof, which is really nice from a do-it-yourselfer point of view. I'm overall impressed with the design of it, the functionality of it. I can't wait to test, but I got to tell you, I've looked at a lot of this type of stuff, and I haven't seen any with this much thought put into it. So I think you guys are really onto something.
Yeah, Matt worked really hard to make sure that we could use as many stock components from the motorcycle as you possibly can, coming off and going back on. You're not gonna reuse your fairing mount, your triple trees, your cans, but basically everything else on your front end will go back on your bike. And it is interchangeable. You're not doing anything here to this motorcycle that will not let you put it back to stock in the end if you wish to do so.
That being said, I've been cutting these now going on 6 years, and cringe every time I do it to this day on a new motorcycle, and 5% of the marketplace is going to allow you to cut their motorcycle, to where this is going to open up that market quite extensively from not cutting the frame.
Yeah, that's what we found in the Victory market. A lot of guys that wanted to go that path, because they didn't have to go that path. We even have dealers that install these kits on their brand new showroom bikes and sell to the general public, because it is a reversible, you know, setup on the bike, and it doesn't void any kind of warranties. It's a bolt-on kit.
There's a lot of states in this country too that require you to salvage your title once you cut
Absolutely.
your frame. So this
I agree.
avoids all those issues.
I agree with that statement.
So all the brake lines, everything bolts right back together.
You can, depending, like now on your bike here, we're going from a double setup to a single.
Correct.
So we're going to go from a double to a single, which means a new brake line. But all your other lines and everything will go back on, and you can make your stock lines work with the kit. We do recommend, the other thing we do like you to change out is your brake line, so you get the exact length, exact fit for the setup, depending on if you're doing a 21, 23, 26 build. Some of that does vary in the lines, but So far, the guys that have used our 45-degree kits on their bikes have used their stock brake lines.
And this doesn't put as much rake as a 45-degree kit, so you should be able to use the same lower brake lines.
Correct.
If you stay with a 2-caliper system.
Correct. Yes. The distance from from underneath at the squat to up, and once again, it depends because remember, you have adjustability in our kit to drop the front of the frame or raise the front of the frame. And of course, you know, if you drop the front of the frame, you're going to get more. You're going to get more travel out of your brake lines than if you hold the front of your frame up.
Right.
So the way you set up your bike in the end is going to result in those brake lines. But other than the brake lines, we have had no other issues with stock components going right back on the bike.
And because you've made this kit adjustable in many ways, it's versatile with several variations of wheel.
Yes. And this kit here is, Matt knows better the trail numbers for the 2640.
Well, this kit right here we've set up for the mid 5s on the trail numbers with the 23-inch wheel. So you'll be in the upper 5s with the 26-inch wheel and the lower 5s with the 21-inch wheel. And that's at the kit's, that's at stock frame height. As we pointed out before during the install and everything, our kit does allow you to adjust the height of the fork tubes without modifying your fork tubes, just by loosening the pinch bolts and dropping the front of the bike down. So depending on where you got the front of your bike sitting, the back of your bike, there's a lot of other factors in the exact trail numbers you have. But you're going to be in that 5-inch range, which is a good solid range.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't make your steering too heavy
Or
for a
too
big
light.
cruiser like
Yeah.
this.
What are trail numbers for stock road bikes, for instance?
They're in the upper 5s, 5.8, and
So
close to 6 is typical design points. But in the Victory market, for example, we actually designed to lower trail numbers than stock. The Victories, some of them, especially with the narrow tires, tend to feel a little bit heavy. When you're at slow speeds, you got a lot of inside handlebar pressure. When you put our Pro Street kit on the bike, that actually lightens that up. Customers put the Pro Street kits on the bike expecting a heavier, more cumbersome feeling bike, and the bike actually feels lighter, and they're just pleasantly surprised. We have a lot of customers in the Victory market who are like, they can't believe, wow, this bike handles better with your rake kit on it than a stock bike. We've gotten that comment a lot of times. So we like to design to a little bit lower than OEM trail numbers. OEM trail numbers tend to be very conservative and pretty heavy, so that's why we're in the 5-inch range on these kits.
And we should have pictures of this bike up on Brad's site here, Rampage's site, probably in the next couple days, all put back together and buttoned up, and you'll be able to see this bike in Sturgis this year. It's going to be at the Rampage booth.